Hey guys, this is Rick at Tasty Guitar. Well, if you play music for long enough, pretty much everybody's been in a situation where you're confronted with a piece of music with a bunch of extended or altered chords that you just don't know. And you kind of panic and you don't know what to do and you end up just laying out and not playing anything. Well, today I'm going to show you a very simple, straightforward approach to simplifying extended or altered chords on the spot to get you through situations like this. Another very important application of this technique is when you're playing with another chordal instrument in your group and that person is already playing the full chord voicing. A lot of times it'll sound better if you played a simplified, kind of bare bones version of the chord so you won't clash and get in the way of each other. Also, don't forget you can come and download the tablature for this lesson absolutely free at TastyGuitar.com. Tune up and let's get started. So we're going to be talking about the three main chord groups which you'll be coming across. Those being major, dominant, and minor 7 chords and all the extensions and alterations which go with those. If I start by taking a look at this major 7 chord here at the 5th fret, A major 7. I got my root, my 7th, my 3rd, and my 5th. The most important notes in this chord are the major 7th and the major 3rd. Any other extensions beyond that or altered notes are just kind of giving you other colors on top of these two important notes here. So if I have a chord like, say, the major 13, if I'm coming across a song where I'm called for that I have to play that chord and you don't know the voicing, you can get by with just playing these two notes, the major 7th and the major 3rd, anywhere that they would be on the neck. You could find them up here as well. There's the major 3rd and the 7th. Another very common chord you may come across that you might not know a voicing for would be a major 7 sharp 11. There's one way of playing it there. And if you don't know a voicing for it, you could get by with just playing that major 7 and major 3rd, and you'll sound just fine. Now, of course, that's not the only place you're going to have that combination of a major 7 and major 3rd. If you were playing, say, a major 7 chord with the root on the 5th string, say this D major 7 chord, your major 7 and 3rd are going to be right here. Well, say if you were going to play a major 7 sharp 11 in this shape, again, our major 7 and 3rd are the only notes you have to have. You can get by fine if you don't know the full voicing. Alright, so now let's take a look at dominant 7th chords. Your typical dominant 7th chord is made up of a root, major 3rd, 5th, and flat 7th. And as you may have guessed, the most important notes are still the 7th and the 3rd. But now we have a major 3rd and a flat 7th. Major 7th was here, major 7th, 3rd, dominant 7th, flat 7th, and 3rd. So say you come across a piece of music and it calls for an A7 sharp 9 sharp 5, okay, and you don't know what that is. Well, here's a voicing for it, but you can get by because it's just an extension, an alteration on that basic 7th chord. You can get by on just that 7th, that flat 7th, and the major 3rd. And you will not clash. Now let's take a look at some dominant chord voicings built off of the 5th string. So here's a typical D7 chord here, root right there on the 5th string, your 3rd now here, and your flat 7th. So if you had, say, an altered chord like a 7 flat 9, D7 flat 9, say you didn't know that voicing, well, you can get by with just that 3rd and flat 7th. Just remember where your root is so that you can move it around. So if you're called for a G7 flat 9, find your G note on that string. There's your 3rd, there's your 7th. Another place you can find that flat 7th and 3rd, if you're thinking of the root on the 5th string, would be here. Here's a D note, flat 7th, major 3rd here. So again, if you're playing over that 7 flat 9, flat 7, and you could play the 3rd up here instead of there. They're interchangeable, both will work. Alright, so now let's take a look at minor 7 chords. A minor 7 chord is made up of your root, flat third, fifth, and flat seven. And just like before, your thirds and sevenths are the most important notes in the chord. So we got the flat seventh and flat third here. So if we're going to be having to play an extended chord, these are your minor ninths or minor 11ths, and you didn't know the voicing, you can get by with just those two notes. There's your minor 11. I could get by with just playing that. Minor 9. I could get by with just playing this. Especially if somebody else is already covering that chord and you don't want to clash or play the exact same thing. Just playing these two notes anywhere on the neck, that two note combination will work. Okay, so now let's take a look at where these notes are if your root is on the fifth string. So if we have this D minor 7 here, our flat seventh is there and our flat third is here. It's important to know where these notes are in relation to your root so that you can move it around to different chords. So if you're having to play over an E chord, an E minor chord, there you have it, G, etc. So say you're faced with the chord minor 7 flat 5 and you don't know the voicing, you can get by with just these two notes, flat 7, flat third. Okay, I'm now going to just play over a backing loop of extended and altered chords, but I'm only going to play the thirds and sevenths, and I'm going to do it in two different spots so you can see how to apply this. Alright guys, thank you so much for coming by today. I really hope you enjoyed Attack of the 50-Foot Guitar Chords. No need to be scared or intimidated by these extended or altered chords anymore. In most situations, you can just play the thirds and sevenths to get by. Now, of course, this is no substitute for actually learning these voicings. I mean, you should know them. But if you find yourself in a situation where you're on the spot and you don't want to just lay out and look like you're doing nothing, it's better to play just these bare bones of the chords than nothing at all. As always, if you did enjoy the lesson, please like, share, and subscribe, and come by TastyGuitar.com where I have a lot of other free lessons for you, and I do offer private instruction via Skype. This has been Rick. Thank you.